Whenever you speak, people hear you speaking in their native language. Most people are surprised and delighted. The cashier at McDonald's you've just talked to is horrified. Nobody's spoken that language in thousands of years. I've always had to pretend I was mute. When I was very small, as soon as I hit the milestone to talk, I had been fluent in English. I remember bits and pieces before everything changed. That day I remembered clearly. Well, the important bits at least. I don't remember that morning, but I remembered the afternoon. Mom and Dad had been so proud of me talking. That was until the day their friend had come over. I remember they had a slight accent, and when I talked to them, they grinned. I happily chatted away while my parents stared in horror. After their friend left, the smiles on their faces vanished. There was a lot of muttered, angry talking in the other room. I sat, pretending to play with my toy cars, but my stomach twisted. I had done something wrong, but I didn't know what. A door slammed, and then the house went quiet. I heard shuffling as Dad peeked into the room before vanishing upstairs. Dinner was silent. Mom banged around the kitchen, tight-lipped. Dad spoke quietly, but shushed me if I talked too loud. I didn't get it. Dinner ended without incident. I even got cake. It's weird how I remember the cake so clearly. The normal routine continued. Dad turned on BBC 2 for Star Trek. I sat on his knee, watching happily. Then men with weird faces appeared, brandishing weapons. I held my hand up and yelled. Suddenly Mum was there, ripping me from Dad's lap, screaming, hitting me. I cried, begging for Dad, but the hits kept coming. Mum screamed at me to shut up, pinning me to the wall. I screamed in fear, begging for Dad, which sent her into a bigger rage. Another hit struck my face and I crumbled silently, my head spinning. I heard wrestling and more screaming before the house went quiet. I was locked in my room. That's what I remember next. I hurt. My little white unicorn shirt was stained with blood. My hand hurt. I had wrapped it with a bandage from my kit. I was hungry. No one came for ages. When Mum finally entered, I ran to her, crying, but she hit me. As soon as I opened my mouth, she hit me again. She screamed at me to shut up. Once I was silent, she placed a sandwich and water on the floor, then left, locking the door. My room became my prison. Mum would flip if she thought I made a sound. Eventually, I stopped talking to everyone, even Dad. One day we moved. Just me and Mum. Dad didn't come. He never hurt me. He talked to me kindly when Mum was out, sneaking home on lunch breaks to see me. He let me whisper, telling me he was the only one I could talk to. I missed him. Mum moved me after neighbors asked about school. It was just us. I sat quietly every day. She gave me books. Once I proved I wouldn't speak, she took me to a doctor. The whir was now being accompanied by a constant thrumming, which preyed on my weakened sanity. I like to believe that I lasted longer than anyone else in the end. I began to beat my head against the floor in an attempt to shut out the unceasing noise. Eventually, I was slamming it so hard I believe I gave myself a concussion. I couldn't take it anymore. All at once, I wriggled out from under the bed in my cocoon, threw the blankets off of me, and darted out my door. His eyes widened and he stepped back. He rambled about a forgotten language, his language, then told me to leave and never return. I hadn't gone near that store again. I hadn't spoken since. The class suddenly went silent, unusual for them. A man walked in with a presence that screamed authority. My eyes widened. It was the man from McDonald's. I shrank in my seat as he scanned the room, then read the register. When he reached my name, I didn't bang on the desk as usual. I stayed quiet. My classmates quickly told him I couldn't talk, and things moved on. Class finally ended, but over the sounds of chairs sliding and bags rustling, a voice boomed, "Mute kid, stay."